years to get to this live screen today. I was just reading an article in the Guardian. It's also been in a few other places about comments RTD has made about future proofing the show. Um, he's now stated one of the reasons they took the offer to be co-produced by Disney because the end of the BBC is nigh. Well, not exactly. It's not gonna like disappear tomorrow, but um, it's well, not tomorrow, but you never know. But basically, yeah, he's saying, look, if Disney were to fold up its tents, and we had to go back to claustrophobic stories and blah blah, we do that. Or if the BBC folds up, then Doctor Who is not going to disappear. So basically, it's like an insurance policy, is what's going on. At least that's what it seems to be. But the problem is, have you sold your soul to the Mickey? Not. Ugh. So, kind of an interesting thing to ponder there is the fact that, he's gone from the BBC must be saved to the BBC gonna die. But given how weird things are these days, and we've got people ranting in the streets for for this, that, and all the other, and it's just weird and wacky times out there in the world, as it always is. I'm just sitting here thinking also of, social media. There are just some days I'm so glad there were shows that I watched before social media happened. Because I just imagine, some of these guys' heads exploding. When like Xena Warrior Princess came out on the air. It is woke, neo-feminist garbage. Oh gosh. Or see what else they would have thrown a fit over. All I know is that what you call it. I remember when Next Gen came out, people were still having fits in the well, that's back before we had the internet. We had bulletin boards you called up with your modem. Back in the days before the internet, when we rode mastodons to work. Ugh. If you wanted to send somebody, a mail, you had to write it out on paper, put it in an envelope with a stamp, and send it to their physical address. God, I think I was almost to the point there of channeling Snape. Ugh. Alan Rickman was upon my mind there for a second, Mr. Potter. Kevin Sorbo's still around. A lot of people joke on him because of his political opinions and all that, but he's still doing okay as far as I know. I met him back in oh God, this was well over a decade ago or more. Long time ago. This is back around the time that I'd have to dig it up because I have a date and all that in that folder of when it was taken. He came to a convention here in Ohio, and basically he told us about what happened with Andromeda, why it fell apart. And because Andromeda was such a big deal that at the end, that during its second season, it was renewed for 5 more series. But the problem is, it ended at Series 5. And I think he said it had a lot to do with there was a lot of, shall we say, very corrupt things going on, behind the camera. And, things like that. And Mark Singer's still about. Yeah, he's getting up there, but he's still out and about. I can't remember if he has any social media or not. I know Kevin Sorbo does because he, I believe he's a rather conservative type guy. So, the people go on and on about that. Opinions are like, I'm not going to, my Alan Rickman voice, this ain't working. I can flow into an Alan Rickman, I just can't do it on purpose. Mr. Potter. Oh, well. It just happens sometimes. I don't even do it intentionally. Of course, this is just my arrogant voice. This is not Alan Rickman. But if I really, really just let it drift, it happens. I don't know why. It just... Yeah, so he's still out there. He's still, yammering away about stuff. Yeah, it's the same thing with Airwolf, Saeed. I loved Airwolf except for that abomination they called the final season, where the show got sold to another network or whatever, and they cut the budget so badly they didn't even have the physical helicopter anymore. They just had a prop, and then they reused all the flight scenes from the previous seasons. Yeah, they kept the prop for and all that for the studio shooting and all that for the interior shots and whatnot, and of course for when they're inside the hidden part layer, but that's not the actual physical helicopter you see. That's a prop. It was a big reproduction, and the actual helicopter was sold, went back into service, and eventually it was being, I believe, used as an ambulance in Germany when it finally crashed. So the actual Airwolf helicopter no longer exists. Blue Thunder was a customized French Gazelle helicopter, if I remember right. I'm not sure what happened to it. I'd have to do some reading. It's scary how a lot of these vehicles have been kept in museums. They've been well kept. Like I said, they mostly, like, I know some of the Knight Rider cars were sold off. I know some of the General Lee reproductions. That evil car that bears the evil racist Confederate flag upon its top. And it has the name General Lee. And I'm like, yeah, and General Lee was a military man who rarely ever made it to the farm. He didn't have any direct hand in slavery and wanted it abolished. The only reason he fought for the South because he believed in states' rights, and he fought for his home state of Virginia. But nobody reads that part of history, do they? I'm not sure. I could have swore I read something about, that the Torchwood SUV being real. I know that Straker's car from UFO is one of the more famous ones, and the original one is sitting in the back lot of somebody's house, slowly decaying. And but they did allow a guy to go in there and scan the vehicle itself, to which he built a reproduction of it. The original Bessie, of course, is in a museum, and of course, Pertwee's Whomobile suddenly resurfaced, and it looks like it's getting some work done to it. But the trick is, I'm not sure if they're ever going to be able to get it to run again. It was a totally custom vehicle. I will eventually see the Frozen Empire movie. It's just, we really don't go to theaters or anything like that anymore, so we're waiting for the home release or the digital or whatever, so to speak. So we will eventually watch it. I've heard it was pretty good. It did pretty well at the box office, but of course it will be labeled as an utter failure because it did not perform as well as previous. Yeah, because no one goes to the theater anymore. I don't think Torchwood's being revisited, because RTD would have said something by now if it was, in the works, and I don't think it is. And even if it was in the works, you're never going to see Barrowman as Harkness again, because everybody's made such a fit over something he did how many years ago. Yet, Noel Clarke walks away scot-free with no charges filed. Go figure. And I don't see his character being assassinated at left, right, and center for what he allegedly did. But we have to say allegedly. There's a rumor going around about Arrow being brought back, but like I said, I'll believe it when I see it. Especially because they tried doing a spin-off series, with the Arrow daughter and all that crap, and it did not take. Well, folks, I just looked at the time. I've got to get inside. Oh, reminder! There will be no parking lot tomorrow. There will be no parking lot Saturday. There will be no parking lot on Monday, because this is Easter weekend. We have Good Friday and Monday as well as Easter off. So I will see you all again on Tuesday. If maybe I'll pop in on you sooner. It depends on if any news hits or whatnot. So take care, everyone. Be kind, be cold, be safe. Enjoy your weekends. Oh, that's right. Almost forgot. It is 28 degrees Fahrenheit as we leave you here in the parking lot. Take care, everyone. Weekend. Great. Button used to be over there. Now